¿Cómo están? Buenos días, tardes, noches, dependiendo de a qué hora estén viendo esto o lo estén escuchando, porque ya saben que este programa también se puede escuchar en todas las plataformas de Spanish Bowl, donde escuchen podcast. Mi nombre es Miguel Esses y como cada semana me acompaña Iñigo Maisterrena, mi estimadísimo amigo. ¿Cómo estás, mi buen?
¿Cómo estás, Mike? Encantado de estar una semana más aquí platicando del equipo de nuestros amores. Y bueno, después de semana de bye, tenemos una tremenda sorpresa. Estamos muy bien acompañados. Ahorita platicaremos de ello. Ya platicamos un poquito la semana pasada y adelantamos algunas cosas. Y por supuesto, ya en la imagen de presentación en redes sociales pudieron ver que vamos a estar muy, muy bien acompañados y platicando un ratito en otro sentido, con otra visión y bueno, con una co-host por primera vez, que bueno, es un poquito eh, enemigo de alguna manera, pero a la vez amiga, a la vez amiga.
Por supuesto. Por primera vez este programa tiene 3 conductores. Esta es la primera vez en la historia de Somos Washington. Y la tercera host es ni más ni menos que Ilse Reza. ¿Cómo estás, mi estimada?
Hola, mis queridos. Fíjense, es que en todos lados ando, ya me van a querer correr desde sus redes, ya córranme, no se crean, quédanme. Me encanta estar aquí. O sea, muchas primeras veces con ustedes, queridos, muchas, y me encanta.
Bueno, pues ya saben que Ilse, bajo el argumento de que es la presidenta del club de fans de Ryan Fitzpatrick,
Claro.
es parte de este programa y como hemos dicho muchas veces, el simple hecho de querer apoyar a Washington de alguna forma es suficiente para ser parte de este programa.
Y
Y
también
no,
a Alex Smith, también
Claro,
tenía
obvio.
un
Miren, fíjense que
amor especial.
neutral, qué neutral vengo, o sea, cero Dolphins, ¿no? No hay.
no tomaremos en cuenta las banderas, pero
No.
pues...
Sí, no se
Y
ven,
no
no se ven.
estamos solos. No estamos solos los tres. Tenemos una gran invitada, de verdad. Un verdadero honor para nosotros. Ustedes ya pudieron ver una pequeña plática que tuve con ella acá en Formación Escopeta. Y ahora sí vamos a hablar enteramente del Washington Football Team. Tenemos a Renee Washington. Renee, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Yo estoy un poco cansada, lo siento, porque estuve en Los Ángeles este fin de semana por el partido de Lakers y Hornets. So.
Ok. Como pueden ver, René, y si pudieron ver la entrevista que le hice, tiene algo de experiencia con el español. Ya nos
Sí,
dijo, no para todo un programa, pero poco a poco. ¿Cierto, René?
sí.
Entonces, a ver, vamos a empezar a platicar. Yo obviamente quiero aventar la pregunta y iniciamos con René. René, you follow the Washington football team very closely at the beginning of the season. You have followed them, I guess, like ever since. What is your impression of this team right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was fortunate to work with the team for a short time and be a part of their shows and just be able to be around and see kind of what's going on behind the scenes. It's a group that is close, very close. Still has some work to do as we are seeing the season play out and as we're about halfway through the season. And I think that's what fans are finally, are really realizing is that last year, end of the season and all the expectations coming in, the team's not fully there yet. They have a lot of great pieces. You look at a player like Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Of course, there's still quarterback questions, although Taylor Heineke's been doing a great job in that role as well as he can. You have someone like Scary Terry and Terry McLaurin, but there's still pieces that need to be put in place. So I think this is a group that, for fans, although they're ready to throw them out the window and give up, you can't abandon it fully. They're in the NFC East, so there's always potential moving forward in the future. But overall, the team is, I think, in a good space for just the youth that they have. Where this is good. This is a rocky season, but they're taking a lot of learning lumps, as we'll call them.
Ok, Íñigo.
Bueno, le preguntaba Mike sobre las impresiones en este momento del equipo para René. Y bueno, nos platicaba que estuvo un tiempo involucrada con el equipo. Siente que están muy cerca de conseguir ciertas cosas, que son un grupo unido, tienen muchos jugadores muy buenos. Hay algunas dudas, evidentemente, con Taylor Heinicke, pero es un equipo muy joven, con jugadores muy jóvenes. y ese es un asunto importante para que nosotros como afición tengamos un poquito más de paciencia en ese sentido y no los abandonemos en esta ya mitad de temporada. Renee, I think it has been a disappointment this half season for the fans. What do you think, or which player is in your opinion, that has disappointed more in this 2021 season?
Ooh. First of all, I love that I understood what you were saying. I wish I could say it. Like, I was like, oh, okay, that all made sense. But I'm not there yet. And as soon as I was like, oh man, I guess I didn't know how to say some of that in Spanish. But to your question, I just think the defense has struggled a lot. I think that's been offensively with bringing in Ryan Fitzpatrick, who of course, we saw go down with injury in first week. I know, sorry. But offensively, there were going to be some question marks around the team, but the expectation was really on the defense. So I can't even point to just one player. I think as a whole, the D-line has struggled, honestly. And I think that's where people are surprised by the amount of points they've been giving up, the amount of third down conversions, the amount of just inability to adjust. So maybe it's Jack Del Rio, to be honest. But I just think that's where people expect this team to be carried by their defense. And when you look at their performances, some games you might say, okay, it's the Chargers. Okay, it's the Chiefs. Okay, whoever they're playing. But it's the Broncos. Then it's like, okay, some of these teams you should be able to grind out a win. The Saints. That game, I think, was probably the game that a lot of people were like, okay, this group is not what we thought. So I think it might be Jack Del Rio, to be honest, just looking at as a whole at just kind of the expectations defensively and where they've been performing at.
Ilse, you want to go with the translation? Or I take it?
Yeah, take it. And then if I may, I'll ask another question.
No, yeah, of course. Then I'll translate and you go with the question. No problem. Ok, bueno, básicamente Iñigo le preguntaba cuál ha sido el punto más decepcionante del Washington Football Team en este año. Y obviamente hay cosas de la ofensiva que sabíamos que no iban a funcionar y que había como ciertas dudas, pero digamos que la parte que más decepciona tiene que ser la defensiva, porque toda la expectativa estaba puesta sobre la defensiva. Era la unidad fuerte, era la unidad en la cual había confianza, y de repente las cosas no han salido. Y si de repente, pues sí, como que argumentas que, bueno, es que eran los Chargers, o eran los Chiefs, entonces dices, bueno, como que se justifica un poco, pero luego dices, pues eran los Broncos, y eran los Saints, y ya como que las cosas cambian, obviamente. Y dice René, creo que lo hemos platicado en este programa y todos opinamos lo mismo, son victorias que dices, tenían que haber sacado la victoria, tenían que haber encontrado la manera de batallar para llegar a la victoria, y me suena como muy puntual el tema de los Saints, ese partido en el cual, dice, todo el mundo dijo, esto está muy mal, de verdad, porque fue un partido donde verdaderamente se vio este punto como muy, muy malo de la defensiva, y es una unidad que obviamente ha decepcionado, y como dice, no puedo marcar un punto en específico de la defensiva, pero toda la defensiva ha sido una decepción. Creo que por ahí va como este asunto, y pues todos lo hemos sufrido, obviamente. Y ahora sí, mi estimada Ilse, go for it.
Okay, thanks. Renee, so I have to ask this question because you know that, I mean, well, I began loving this team before Fitz when he played with us still last year, but as I see it, Fitz brought all of this experience and leadership and this passion for the game and like a different vibe. So I would like you to tell me how, as you see it, do you think that even though he could play only like a game or less than a game, do you think that knowing that he's there and with all this energy that he brings to the table and the respect that everybody has for him, do you think that in any way he kind of shares or let's say takes all the players like under his wing, or that they see something in him that makes them feel a little bit more, let's say, confident? Do you think that maybe Heineke had a chance in the preseason and the camp and everything to learn from him and all the players too? Do you think that there was something, or there is still something from him in them?
I think no, unfortunately, because I just think that since he wasn't able to play as much, he was there for preseason. He's there for the first half of the Chargers game. You know, and there's just not enough time there to really develop that relationship. You know, I think behind the scenes, you know, with the amount of years that he's had in the league and the amount of teams that he's played on, he absolutely is a voice. You know, I will not discredit that, but I think that Taylor Heinicke actually brings a little bit more excitement because this is a player that everybody saw come in with no expectations, coming off of, you know, out of the college classroom and back and into the NFL, back into football, and able to like bring this energy to the O-line and to the team that I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick was able to match. So I think the hard part is now we almost don't even talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick. I hate to even say that, but
yeah,
you know,
that's right.
We don't know when he's going to be back. We don't know what's going to happen. He's older. You know, and now the question that people are bringing up is who should we be bringing in? It's not even a matter of like when Ryan comes back, who will be the starting. It's no, who can we bring in to be QB1? And I think that's the hard part for Ryan Fitzpatrick, is because it was such a shame. He got hurt in the very first game, and you bring in Fitz magic, and we've seen it in Miami, and we're excited. There's this veteran presence that they desperately needed. But if he's not able to stay healthy, which he wasn't, I think now he's literally dropped the ball, in the sense that people are looking elsewhere to find a quarterback and looking to figure out who is it going to be bringing in. I know Cam's name's been thrown around, and different, you know, Tua, actually. Like, apparently Miami quarterbacks tend to be the common names that get brought up. But I think that the chemistry was never really fully developed, and that's partly why this O-line, which has been banged, you know, there's been injuries, there's been different issues there, still hasn't found their way consistently, because you have a quarterback that is like a rookie. You know, look at the amount of games, the amount of snaps he played prior to the season compared to what every game being in that starting role. So I think it's actually Taylor's team until they find a new quarterback. Unfortunately, that's not on the team currently.
Okay, so you don't see him coming back?
Well, I am interested to see. I think he might be back this season. I don't know. I don't like how they're not really talking about him, and everything is more like, oh, we don't know when he'll be back. We don't know when he'll be back. Again, he's older and he's had a hip injury, and I know even I was talking about it with some other people. That's a hard injury to come back from at that age. So I think he might physically be back, but I don't think that we will fully ever see him leading this offense. Even if he's playing in games, maybe he closes out, you know, comes back at the end, you know, the end of the season. I don't think this is going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick's team.
Okay, let me go cry, guys. Okay. No, it's fine. No, but you're right. I mean, I think that it was like everybody had expectations on him, right? Great expectations. That's why they took him, because they saw what he did with us. But well, we weren't counting on that big injury. You're right.
Exactly.
Bueno, sí, ahora sí voy yo, si quieres, Mike. Okay. Bueno, René nos está diciendo que pues no, definitivamente al haber tenido esta lesión, ¿no?, tan temprano en la temporada, pues es ya prácticamente imposible, ¿no?, que regrese. Y así, se me rompió el corazón con lo de ya está grande, ¿no? Ya está grande, y ya una lesión en la cadera no es lo mismo a esa edad. No es lo mismo esa edad. Y tenemos se fijan, yo como se llama mi equipo. Tenemos a Taylor Heinicke, que pues es un quarterback pues cumplidor, como tipo todavía considerado a lo mejor un rookie, porque no ha tenido toda la experiencia que esperemos encontrar en otros quarterbacks, y salió como de la nada, ¿no? Dice René así como, oh, wow, sorpresa con todo lo que hizo. Entonces, definitivamente esta es su ofensiva hasta que se encuentre el quarterback 1. ¿Por qué, René? Pues obviamente cree que, como muchos otros, yo creo, ¿no?, también, que Heinicke no es el quarterback 1 y que pues tiene muchísimo que aprender. Y bueno, pues entonces básicamente se rompen todas mis esperanzas, pero no importa, lo seguiremos amando. A ver si regresa, y si no regresa, pues ni modo. Thank you so much, Renee.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Really, the problem is that actually today came out some news about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, yeah, he's rehabbing, but he's nowhere near to coming back.
No.
And again, we talked about this in the show. It's really complicated to come back from that. You even see Tua. Tua is very young compared to Fitzpatrick, and he had a hip injury in college, and he's not exactly the player who they thought was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And Fitz is a little bit older, Ilse, a little bit, and he obviously will have more problems with that. Pues nada más como agregando el tema
Just
de
like
la lesión
15 years, I think.
Just 15 years.
Just
Poquito.
15 years.
Más o
More.
menos.
Bueno,
Exacto.
Iñigo, go ahead, my friend.
Well, talking about the movements in the defense, about the disappointments, we talked in this show about Landon Collins. How's your perspective the last game that Landon Collins? I think he made a pretty good game at linebacker. Do you think Landon Collins is better at linebacker?
You know, I think
Position?
I think it doesn't hurt to try and to see if this does make sense moving forward, because the defense, as we talked about, has been kind of underperforming in a way. So if it's a matter of moving around who's at safety, who's at linebacker, and just kind of having a different look, that actually is something that Coach Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio were talking about, the versatility and bringing in a player like Willie Green III, but bringing in and adding more versatility in general was what they were trying to do with their defense. So I think that this is what we're seeing. This is a young group. They're still trying to figure things out. You've got a coach who's in his second season with the team. You've got a quarterback who's young. You've got a lot of youth across the players that are in year one of let's look at how many snaps. Again, I know we're talking about Taylor Heineke, but look at the team as a whole. How many snaps have these guys played in the NFL in major roles where they were in that first string, in that first lineup? So for Landon Collins, I think it's a good opportunity. He's young, he's hungry, he's ambitious, to see if he can help out in another way and to kind of go from there.
Okay, básicamente.
Sorry.
Y bueno, Íñigo preguntaba básicamente por Landon Collins, que eso ha sido un tema de conversión durante todo el año. René dice, bueno, básicamente es tratar de encontrarle un lugar a Landon Collins para que pueda aportar más. Esta cuestión de tener un equipo nuevo, básicamente con muchos jugadores de primer año, muchos jugadores que han estado, pues, con muy poquitos snaps, el caso de Taylor Heineke, y si regresamos a ese punto, la cantidad de snaps que ha tenido en su carrera es pues poco, y obviamente ha tenido como muchos, pues ahí, jugadores nuevos, la llegada de William Jackson, como para tratar de darle versatilidad al equipo, y si de repente es como de encontrar dónde pueden encajar mejor un tipo como Landon Collins, que sí es un tipo agresivo, con hambre, que pues tiene cosas que aportar, y como para ver qué funciona, yo personalmente creo que sí jugó mejor como linebacker. I think he did a better job as a linebacker. He's not exactly a good safety, and well, let's see what happens. Ilse, you have another question? Con el micrófono prendido, Ilse.
You're mute.
Sorry. That happens all the time. That happens to the best of all, right? To the best of us. So, yeah, I always have questions. Always. Don't ask me.
We know.
Yeah. So, Renee, I know that the other teams in the NFC have been working and have been developing, and they have a lot of weapons and everything and good coaching. But thinking about Washington, we know that, the players are great, actually. The players are great. And we know that they have the best coach of the year last season. So, one of the best coaches of the division last season, to me. So I would like you to tell me what do you think that changed that made the team change the position or being in the position they are right now? I mean, they're last in the division. So what factors do you think that affected most? Maybe leaving aside the fact that, I don't know, the Cowboys are doing a great job and the Dak is back and everything. But in what have you seen, or what do you see that affected this record? I mean, they were leaders, and now they're in the last place. So, what do you think is maybe the biggest problem, or what happened in the pathway? Because nobody believed in the Eagles being in this position right now. I didn't think really that they would be in second place. I trusted the Giants a little bit. Actually, I need to say it. And I saw that the Cowboys were doing a great job, but seeing Washington in the last place, that is something that I cannot believe. So what do you think it was the biggest problem, if we can call it that way?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, Ilse, and I am an Eagles fan, so I
know
have been seeing this division year after year after year, which is from so many different perspectives. And I just think the biggest thing is last year was so bad in the division. You look at the fact that everybody's under 500. It was like the best of the worst, unfortunately. And I think Washington at the end of the season really did come together nicely. You look at those last games leading, even prior to the wild card playoff game against Tampa Bay, you start to see them like figuring things out, and it was exciting. And I think that's where this year there have been more adjustments made with the other teams in the division. Of course, for the Giants, you get Saquon Barkley back. I know he unfortunately got injured, and even Daniel Jones went down, but he gets back this season. For the Eagles, when you bring in Devontae Smith, you already have, and then Jalen Hurts, who is now fully playing in that starting role. And then for the Cowboys, bringing back Dak, as you talked about, and I think he's got a different perspective after that gruesome injury, where he's playing just so much more appreciative and so much more focused on the game and locked in. So I just think it's not really about what Washington has done wrong, but more about the fact that the other teams in the division have made adjustments and done more to come back stronger this year. Compared to, I just think they're playing better. Some of them, I won't say the Giants consistently, but I think the Eagles and the Cowboys are playing better football consistently compared to last year. So in my opinion, this division is still a struggle for all four teams, and still not great consistently, but you're at least kind of seeing the division is a little more competitive, I should say. But I think for Washington, they've got to get over that hump. And this group, I know I keep talking about their youth, but they've got to figure it out, because they have the defense, they have the talent, they have a receiver in Terry McLaurin. They've got a lot of pieces there, but it's just something's missing. Whereas I think for the other teams, specifically looking at the Eagles and Cowboys, they've got their quarterback, they've got their top receiver. The Eagles started running the ball more, so their offense looks better. It's slowly coming together. I know they just lost the Chargers. It's a tough loss, whatever. But I just think that Washington hasn't made as many adjustments as they should have.
Okay. ¿Puedo, chicos? ¿Sí?
Dale.
Ok. Bueno, pues le preguntaba a René qué es lo que ella ve, ¿no? Como por qué el año pasado Washington tuvo pues el récord más alto de la división, y ahora pues en cambio estamos como, insisto, en el sótano, ¿no? De la división. Estamos, claro. Estamos. Yeah, my team, Washington.
Somos Washington.
Somos Washington.
Entonces nos dice René que no es tanto que vea un problema como muy grande en Washington, ¿no? Sino que más bien es precisamente que los demás equipos fueron creciendo como bastante, ¿no? Hemos visto, como decía René, juego muy consistente por parte de los otros equipos, sobre todo el regreso de Dak Prescott, que viene con una mentalidad distinta, ¿no? De hecho, sí, pues lo hemos visto totalmente diferente, fuerte, ¿no? Confiado, humilde también. La verdad es que no era mi favorito, pero la verdad me anda cayendo medio bien ahora. Y también nos decía René de su equipo, que son los Eagles, que a lo mejor tampoco no esperaba tanto y ha visto mucho crecer al equipo. Y yo creo, René, que te voy así también con esta parte de Hurts y Smith, que hacen una dupla maravillosa, ¿no? La verdad es que han funcionado súper bien. Entonces, eso ve también ella en los Eagles y en los Giants, que a pesar de todas las lesiones, ¿no? Los jugadores van y vienen, pero al final encuentran buenas piezas para mover. Y pues el coacheo también ha sido bueno, ¿no? Entonces ella más bien dice, no es que Washington tenga un problema porque tiene los jugadores para tener buenos juegos, para llegar a un buen récord y pues no se hable del coacheo, ¿no? Sino más bien que los ajustes que hicieron los demás equipos los han hecho crecer más rápidamente, entonces simplemente es como que alcanzar a los demás, ¿no? En ese crecimiento. Gracias, André. Thank you.
Ok. ¿Les parece bien? Vamos con algunos comentarios. Tenemos algunos saludos para no olvidar a todas las personas que amablemente están viendo. All the people who are watching the show. For example, Ángel couldn't see the show live, but he says hello to all of us, especially to Ilse. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Sixto, who is a good friend of us, es un buen amigo del programa. He also talks about football in another project, okay? And he's a Washington fan. He says that we're going for Brady. I honestly don't think that. No creo que ganemos. Renee, what do you think? Washington can beat the Buccaneers?
No. Lo siento, pero no. I just think that even without, I think when I looked, I know Gronk is still out, Godwin, there's just, Tampa Bay has a number of injuries, but they still have Tom Brady. And here's the other part of this. Aside from just this season, I am sure that just like we always talk about that playoff game last year, Tampa Bay is sick of hearing about that playoff game last year and how the Washington football team almost beat them. So I imagine that they're going to look to come into this week, I should say, and prove it was a fluke. It should not have been that close. We are way better than that. So I think not only are they going to just talent-wise be better, I think, unfortunately, they're also coming out with something to prove. Now, that might help the Washington football team, too, if they have that same mindset of, like, let's show that last year we should have won that first-round playoff game, and we should have moved on and kept Tampa Bay from moving on to win the Super Bowl. But I think that Tampa Bay just has a little bit more, unfortunately. But it might be closer than we think.
Yeah, why not? Anything can happen in this league, of course.
I could see it being a closer game than people might, like maybe a 7-point game, 10-point game. But I think Tampa Bay is going to win, unfortunately.
Bueno, le preguntaba a Mike que si el equipo le podía ganar a Tampa Bay y ella simplemente dijo no. Pero pues luego nos dice por qué. Y aunque tienen algunas bajas, Gronk no va a estar jugando, algunas bajas en la secundaria también. Chris Godwin también está con algunos problemas. Siguen teniendo a Tom Brady y siguen teniendo a ese magnífico quarterback. Y además hay una cosa que parece como que los Buccaneers tienen como la espinita clavada del juego de wildcard del año pasado, en el que el equipo estuvo bastante cerca de ganarle al que terminó siendo el campeón del Super Bowl. Entonces quieren demostrar que pues, eso simplemente fue suerte y algo totalmente circunstancial del momento de los playoffs pasados y que son un equipo mucho más poderoso y que por eso fueron campeones.
Y pues sí, creo que estamos todos de acuerdo en que las posibilidades
We
de que
all
Washington
agree, yes.
Yeah, what do you think? What are your score predictions?
Ilse.
I don't.
Okay.
Well, Ilse.
I would say that that I'm going with the idea that anything could happen because we saw that this last week, right? So I'm not going to say that we're going to lose. Maybe why not? We might win this. Maybe 1 point difference. Why not? Maybe not a lot of points, but maybe 1 point difference. Yeah, I'm gonna go that way. Why not?
Okay.
Iñigo, ¿tú qué opinas?
I think this secondary is a mess. Tom Brady can take the opportunity of that secondary, and I don't think it's a close. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a 14 or 20 point game, I think.
Sí, and I also believe that there are so many problems on Washington's defense right now that it's going to be a problem for us to handle them. Last year, they were playing better defense, and Tom Brady picked them apart. like Cole Holcomb had a terrible game against the Buccaneers.
Yes.
And we are not going to have anything different this time. I'm also going with Tampa Bay winning by at least 2 touchdowns. Ya, sí, creo que estamos todos de acuerdo en que es un partido muy difícil. Ilse porque es muy optimista y...
I am very
She
optimistic.
is.
I
She's
try to
an
be.
optimist.
You know, I'm a Dolphins fan, so I need to be optimistic, right?
You have.
What can I do?
Very true.
That's very true. Okay. Bueno, another greetings. Luis Ivan, a good friend of the show. A good proof that this show is about just wanting to talk about Washington. He's a Seahawks fan. And he always watches the show. Saludos a Luis Iván, que saluda especialmente a Ilse. Y es una observación que, por cierto, debo hacer una corrección. Dice que es un programa de lujo porque no me puse gorra. La realidad es que se me olvidó. Yo sí puse gorras, pero se me olvidó honestamente. Me distraje platicando con Iñigo cuando entramos al programa y se me olvidó. Pero bueno, eso. It's a situation. It happened. ¿Vale? Digo, no voy a ver después así como ideas, no, pues nada, simplemente fue un accidente. Sixto says, a Washington fan will never give up. And Dolphins fans are the same. They never give
That's
up.
right.
Yeah.
Never.
Since
And
91,
Eagles
we don't have a Super Bowl,
Exactly.
so I mean, since 91.
I mean, and Eagles fans also, they never give up. They always kept rooting for their team until they won the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
So here we are, all of us together, rooting for teams that may not win anything this year.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Because, well, that happens, but all of our teams have won the Super Bowl at least once. So that's the proof that anything can happen, right?
We like to root for the teams that keep disappointing us and get close, and you think this is it, and then they disappoint you
That's
again.
right.
You know, we like the roller coaster ride.
Yeah,
ride.
that's more fun.
That's more fun.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Who wants to root for a perennial winner?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be boring, right?
Right. Every game
Yeah,
is
for the Patriots.
Where's the excitement? That's right.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
no, it's not fun. Ask Bill Belichick. He never has fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's like mad all the time, right?
Exactly.
Like
Right, he's bored.
angry. Yeah,
He's
that's
always
right.
bored. Like everything is happening around him, and he's never happy.
Like I need to hate on everybody because I'm bored. Yeah,
Right.
that's
I'm
right.
winning, so I'm just gonna be miserable.
Entonces, básicamente decimos, todos apoyamos equipos que usualmente nos animan y luego nos decepcionan, porque es más divertido apoyar equipos de fútbol americano que hacen esas cosas. An interesting question from Sixto again. Does Jared Patterson has a chance to be used on a regular basis? I know Iñigo's answer. I want to know Renee's answer because Patterson is one of Iñigo's boys. What do you think, Renee?
I think so. You know, I think he first of all, he's played in multiple positions. So I think that he can bring that. And I like him. I think I think he's gonna be a bright spot when we get to the end of the season that we're gonna look back on and be like, all right, Jared Patterson, and you saw what he did from preseason on. He's really just kind of grabbed Washington fans by the horns because he's fun to watch. He brings something different to the field, and he's more unpredictable. You know, he finds a way to make a play. So I like him, and I say, why not get him the ball more, get the ball in his hands more, let him do what he does. You know, he's fast, he's explosive. I think he's going to be a player that if they keep him and they can continue to build around this offense, that he's going to be someone that's going to get them yards, you know, more consistently and be more involved in the offense. So, Iñigo, I agree. I like him. I'm Team Patterson.
Yeah.
Iñigo, date vuelo hablando.
Bueno, sí, René nos dice que sí, desde la pretemporada era un jugador que parecía que iba a ser favorito de la afición. Es un jugador bastante interesante que tiene rapidez y habilidad de cortes y que ella cree que pues, en esta segunda mitad de la temporada va a tener un poco más de repeticiones y estar más involucrado en la ofensiva y va a conseguir las yardas. Es al final del día un jugador que de alguna u otra manera consigue las yardas y consigue las jugadas. Entonces, pues sí lo ve mucho más involucrado en esta segunda mitad.
Okay. Tim Patterson. We all like Jared Patterson.
Yes, of course.
He's a good guy. And he's a local boy. Es un chico local.
Yeah.
So that's a good story. And he's friends of Chase Young. So everything comes together for him, hopefully. Tenemos varios saludos. Los voy a pasar un poquito rápido porque tenemos un poquito de tiempo ya con René. José Torres desde León, Guanajuato. Saludos. Tirano desde Tabasco. Edgar Adolfo les da la bienvenida a la comunidad que tenemos en este pequeño programa. Lalo Baez says hello to the dynamic duo, that's Iñigo and me, and to our guests. Hello, thank you, my friend.
The dynamic duo. Oh, wait.
The dynamic duo. Ilse and Renee. That's also
That's
there
for
we
us.
go.
Thank you.
Oh.
And we're the dynamic quartet right now.
That's right.
We can be the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, exactly.
That's better. Even better.
Even better.
I like it. We're getting better.
Okay. Great. And Washington NFL MX says,
Thank you.
welcome to the Washington community, to Ilse.
I've been waiting for this for a long time.
We know that you were. Arturo Lopez makes you the question about Logan Thomas maybe coming back in the near future. That will help Washington's chances in the red zone. I guess we will believe that, right? Renee, Iñigo, Ilse, what do you think about Logan Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Hold on to the ball, Logan Thomas. Hold on to the ball.
He's a very good tight end, of course.
Yeah.
He was on the cycling team today, so maybe at the he can play this week. So
hopefully
we'll have to wait, I think.
Because that's also a good help for Taylor Heineke to have a good tight end to rely on. When you're not that good as a quarterback, a good tight end can help you a lot.
Yes.
On short routes.
That is right.
Yeah.
And Ilse knows about that.
I know that. Of course, tight ends are my passion, guys.
Okay. Bueno, obviamente Luis Iván dice que está muy bueno el programa. It's a great show. Excellent guests. Thank you very much. Tirano asked about Aaron Rodgers. What could have been for the Washington football team with Aaron Rodgers? I'm not going to say a lot. Just say, last week I said, after what happened this week, I don't want him anywhere near my team. As a GM, I will avoid him because I don't want a me guy, a me first guy in my team. So I'm going to let you guys, yo no quiero Aaron Rodgers, en ningún caso. Renee, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers right now? What happened with him? What do you make out of him?
I'm going to disagree with you. I don't like a me guy. I definitely don't like a me guy. I'm never a big fan of that. I unfortunately do feel like a lot of big players are so talented because they are me guys, and that selfish mentality, I should say, of only be focused on themselves. And as his story has come out around COVID, his positive results, of course, it's open to questions because he was kind of alluding to him and hinting to him being vaccinated, and come to find out he's not. He's allergic to certain things, so he went a different route. It's been a really odd year for Aaron Rodgers beyond just COVID and just seeing what he did in the offseason too. So yes, it's alarming, but I also feel like he has, in a sense, earned some of this almost cocky, arrogant, and stuck-up personality. And many people said he's kind of always been like that, where he knows what he wants and he knows who needs to be around him. I don't think it's right, but I think that is what makes him Aaron Rodgers, because he's not going to settle. So I think for a team like Washington, if he were shoulda, coulda, woulda, we can dream. If that was a landing spot for him, if that had worked, if that was to happen in any way, it'd be a good fit. But it would not be a good fit for him. I doubt Aaron Rodgers would be happy in Washington, especially since the team right now is dealing with a lot on and off the field. There's so much turmoil and chaos around the team, and based on what he was saying this offseason, it just seems like he wants to go somewhere he can be involved in decisions, he can be involved in who's coming in, and he can also be a part of a team that he can just kind of sit back and coast. He wants a Tom Brady situation. He wants to sit back, be able to schmooze people and throw some passes with players after practice and just relax. So in Washington, he would not be able to do that. It'd be chaotic, and he doesn't want the drama. You know, he's older. He's trying to just win a championship and retire. So I think this would not be a good fit for him, but I guarantee you there are a lot of Washington fans that would give a leg or a right arm if it meant bringing in Aaron Rodgers. But I think that me guy personality, unfortunately, is what comes with making him Aaron Rodgers. Not that I approve of it, but
okay.
Yeah.
He's retiring. He's retiring in Florida, I guess. I'm not saying which team, okay? I'm not saying which team.
Yeah, Jacksonville.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's right.
Bueno, voy a traducir rápido.
Sí, claro.
Dice René que a ella tampoco le gustan los tipos así egoístas que nada más piensan en ellos, pero que a la vez de alguna manera se lo ha ganado por el talento que tiene y por esa manera como ha llevado su carrera. Y que no ve como un jugador que pudiera encajar bien en la situación que tiene Washington por todos los problemas que está habiendo extra cancha y porque además necesita una situación como la tuvo Tom Brady con los Buccaneers, en la cual pues, puede tomar decisiones, puede jalar a la gente que necesita. El caso, por ejemplo, de Antonio Brown, de Rob Gronkowski, por ejemplo, que él los reclutó de alguna manera para el equipo y entonces necesitan tener mucho más control y mucho más decisiones. Y eso es lo que él quiere porque pues, simplemente tiene 38 años y ya está hacia el final de su carrera y necesita algo mucho más tranquilo y no sería la mejor situación en Washington.
Totalmente. Sí, bueno, creo que es un asunto.
Sí.
It's
I totally agree with that, yes.
Yeah, I know.
Very controversial. It's very controversial.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult to talk about that. You know, leaving your feelings aside, right?
Yeah, I know. And I know that Aaron Rodgers proved without being there, his value for the team. The Green Bay Packers were a shell of themselves last week against the Chiefs. I know that, but again, I don't feel comfortable with a guy like that right now in my team. But that's my opinion, my personal opinion, and everybody has a point of view. Sadly, tristemente, mis estimados, tenemos que empezar a cerrar el programa. Sabemos que René tiene un horario ahí un poquito complicado. Nos decía, estuvo en Los Ángeles, tiene muchas cosas que hacer, ir preparándose para la siguiente jornada de deportes, porque si no lo saben, René cubre fútbol, soccer, básquetbol, fútbol americano, colegial, profesional. René, you are everywhere. We know that. So we know that you're on a tight schedule. We want to thank you very much for being here with us. It has been an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I really have enjoyed this conversation. And, you know, it's crazy that we are halfway through the NFL season and just interesting to see what's going to happen next. So I thank you guys for allowing me to come in and have this kind of half midway season discussion to talk through what we've seen and what we think might even happen this upcoming weekend. But keep up the great work with all of that you guys are doing as well. It's fun to watch.
Thank you very much. Obviamente también queremos agradecer a nuestra co-host especial de esta semana, que seguramente no será la última semana en que tengamos una tercera anfitriona en este programa. Ilse, como siempre, un gusto tenerte por acá.
No, al contrario, de veras, queridos, ustedes saben que así en mi corazón enormemente y estoy súper agradecida por permitirme estar aquí de nuevo con ustedes y con René, obviamente. It is always a pleasure, René, to talk to you and discuss important things with you, NFL or not NFL, right, as we have done before. You're an amazing person, an amazing woman, as I have told you before. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us, because I see that you're busy all day, literally all day long. So having or making like the space or the schedule in your schedule to be with us today, that has been amazing. So thank you so much, and thank you, guys.
Welcome. Y bueno, como cada semana, mi estimado Íñigo, como siempre un gusto tenerte por acá, platicando de este equipo que tantas ilusiones y decepciones nos da.
Pues sí, encantados de aquí, como cada semana, estar platicando del equipo de nuestros amores. Muchas gracias, Ilse, por pasarte acá como co-host. And thank you very much, Renee, for your time, for your precious time in this show. We are all Washington. Todos somos Washington. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you all for having me. It's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, definitely. Por supuesto. Y bueno, de verdad, gracias a todos, como cada semana, a toda la gente que se conecta, que deja sus comentarios. Por tiempo no podemos leerlos todos al aire, pero los estamos leyendo acá en los comentarios. De verdad, a Ernesto, a Agustín, a Edgar, a Arturo, todos los que han estado entrando por acá a dejar comentarios, mil gracias. Ya saben que son parte importantísima de este programa. Y bueno, pues nos vemos la próxima semana, ya platicando más pues de lo que pasa en el campo, ya más enfocados en los partidos, qué pasó con los Buccaneers, qué viene después para Washington. Como cada semana que estamos, ahorita ya saben las recomendaciones, pásense al canal de las NFL Girls, las Football Girls MX, con su Wednesday Night Football. Así, ahí no va a estar Ilse hoy, porque estaba acá, pero pues siempre hay cosas que ver y escuchar con ellas, así que vamos para allá todos. Una vez más, gracias a René, gracias a Ilse, Íñigo, como siempre. Mil gracias a todos, a todo el mundo. Nos vemos, pásenla bien. Bye.